Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here this morning. It's a lovely day here in coastal Virginia, beautiful Gloucester Courthouse. Thank everyone for being here with me. Let's begin as we do with our breathing exercise. We breathe in through the nose, we hold, and we breathe out through the mouth. And so we begin in through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. In through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. Continue. And we breathe in through the nose, hold, out through the mouth. And we open our eyes if we have them closed, and we bat them a few times and blink. Get our eyes working, maybe rub them. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. If you're joining me this morning, please send me a little message. Say hello. I'd appreciate it. Today I want to talk about the realization that I am the presence of God. That's it. I am the presence of God. An individual realization. So for years, for much of my lifetime, I was under the idea that, well, I need to make sure that what I perceive as the realization of Goddess, of God, of all that is, of the Great Spirit, was somehow validated by another person's experience. That it was necessary that whatever it was I was experiencing, and therefore I believed, that someone else believed it as well, or effectively lots of someone else. That I was part of the group of people who believed in one particular aspect of divine consciousness. What I know today is that isn't so. I know what is so for me. I know I am the presence of God wherever I am. And that is the beginning and the end of an endless situation. It isn't necessary that agreement comes from other people or other institutions or other governments or other anything along the way. Good morning to you, Shireen. Thanks for being here. It's not the way this humanness is put together and the way we are trained by our forebears, by our parents and our grandparents and the society we live in, we're trained to be motivated, that we have connection in all ways with the society at large. It's important. We're trained that it's important to dress similarly to those around you and to dress appropriately for what the situation or condition is, or to eat this type of food because this is the type of food that everybody eats, or to drive this type of car because it's the car that has the most widely accepted value, or to watch this particular television station, or to live in this particular geographical area, or to have the exterior of your living situation acceptable to those around you, to fit in, is important from a societal point of view, from how we're trained. Don't stand out in a crowd. Don't be different. That's the fundamental training that comes with it. It almost comes like standard operating equipment with this human body. But what is clear to me is that all of the training that is designed around the human body functions out of an idea that the human body, this bag of skin, is the end all be all. I am my body is how I was trained to live in this world. What I know today, what I know is so from a spiritual state of consciousness, from a state of consciousness broader than my human intellectual consciousness, is that I am that which animates this body. I am that which empowers and powers this body. I am the driving force that uses this body as a form of transportation here on planet Earth. I am that which this human body has been trained to protect with the ego, the intellect, the emotions. I am that. And I have come to realize that there is one source, and that source is everything, the whole. I have come to know that one source is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. I have come to know that God is the total control of God's self and God's creation, of which I am. I am of God's self. I am of God, the ultimate criterion of truth and falsity. I am God's power and knowledge. And that power and knowledge extends to all of God, which is everything, of which I am. Realizing this space of being, realizing this conscious understanding of the presence of God as myself, my true self, requires no further support. It's nice, I must tell you, it's nice when someone reaches out to shake my hand or give me a hug and say, I hear you, I agree, I got it. Yet it's not necessary. It's not necessary. We are here of our own volition. I am eternal. I am forever. I know what is necessary, and I act upon that knowing. There are guidelines set out for me along the way. Good morning, John. It's good to see you. There are guidelines set out along the way to help me comprehend the activities that I engage myself with. Myself being my eternal presence, not my body. It's important to realize that. It's important to realize that although it's nice when someone says, yep, I agree with what you're looking at, it's not necessary. To realize oneself as the presence of God wherever one is the end all be all. Anything beyond that that supports that or is positive is just gratuity. I am the presence of God wherever I am, and all is well. I realize that you are the presence of God wherever you are. And wherever you are, I am, because we are that God of which everything is manifest. Again, omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipotent, omnipresent. I've been using those words since I was 6 years old, and to this day, as you just heard, they get tongue-tied in my head. But it's imperative when one chooses to embrace their divine self to be able to be with omnipotence. Means that God is in control of God's self and God's creation. Omniscience means that God is the pure criterion of truth and falsity, so that God's ideas are always true. Omnipresence means that since God's power and knowledge extend to all parts of God's creation, God is present everywhere. Together, they define the lordship of God. And it is not required that anyone else, any other human being on the planet, agree with me about that. Coming to that understanding is liberating beyond expression. Now, as I was saying earlier, there are guidelines along the way that I use. And those guidelines look like certain principles that I choose to shape my action by, to help me realize when I am acting in this human body from a space of divine consciousness. And some of those principles are honesty, hope, faith, courage, integrity, willingness, humility, brotherly love, discipline, perseverance, awareness, service. When I look at my actions, how I am being in this human body on the planet, in interaction with the rest of God which surrounds me, and I see that I am operating out of the space of those principles, I can exhale and relax and realize all is well. On the other hand, if I'm operating out of fear that it won't be good, that I don't have enough, there's going to be a problem, problem. When I operate out of all those places, functioning out of two primary spaces, one, someone's going to get what I got or want. And two, I'm not going to be able to acquire that which I desire. Envy and jealousy, the fundamental groundwork for all fear. Well, I'm not going to look good if that happens. That is operating out of envy. Well, they don't deserve that. They don't work. They get unemployment. They need to stay out of the gas line so that I, who work, can get the gasoline. So I can pay my taxes so they can live for nothing. Jealousy. Someone's going to get what I got. Every single aspect of fear in life comes from one of those two places. And anyone who's willing to drill down on it can find it and see it. The idea that I perceive myself as the presence of God and some kind of need in me that other people experience the same thing I do comes out of fear. It basically comes out of the fear that I'm not going to get what I want. And what is it I want in that thought process? I want to be correct. I want to know in my mind that it's okay, that it's all right. Yet it's not the mind that makes that decision. It's the knowingness that makes that decision. And any one of us who has ever touched it knows the difference. And every time we touch the fear, it's imperative through perseverance that we return ourselves to the knowingness that all is well. God is. For this man, God is. All is God. All is truth. If I find myself in an untruth, it's of my own creation, my intellectual or emotional creation. The individual realization of the presence of God as myself is that which allows the knowingness that fulfillment is manifest. There's only one time, and the time is now. And we are together acknowledging that reality. Yet it only impacts one. I acknowledge you as the presence of God wherever you are. I acknowledge myself as the presence of God wherever I am. All is well. All is well. All is well. Namaste. Namaste. Namaste.